Good evening, Southern Fried Nation. It's great to be back here in Monroe, Georgia tonight. But before we get things started, as we are going to do, we want to pay tribute to a young man that we lost earlier this week that was a big part of not just the Southern Fried family, not just the Georgia wrestling family, the wrestling family as a whole. And during the holiday season, family is so important, so that's why we're here tonight to pay tribute to Jimmy Rave. Please. Guys, there's so many of us that have had interactions with Jimmy, who've known Jimmy, many of us for a long time, myself included. In fact, from the very beginning of his career, I was around Jimmy. And before I bring out everybody else here, I just wanted to share one story that I always get a kick out of. Jimmy and I were riding together to a show, and I had to go pick him up. I believe he had just turned 16, didn't have his license, whatever it was. Jimmy was riding with me, and I was running behind, so I left my cell phone at home. And I told Jimmy when I picked him up, I was like, hey, man, we got to run all the way to Stone Mountain. I live in Lawrenceville. We can swing through, pick up my phone, and be on the way to the show. Jimmy's like, no, man, we don't need your phone. Let's just get there. Let's just, get done. It's like, you know what, Jimmy, you're right. I don't need my phone. I needed my phone because we're on 285 going about 90 miles an hour when my engine decided to blow in the far left-hand lane of 285. So as semi-trucks are rolling past us at 220 miles an hour, Jimmy's laughing and praying at the same time that we don't get hit, because now I am coasting over 4 lanes of traffic playing Frogger with these semi-trucks. We pull over to the side, we get to the shoulder of the road. I said, Jimmy, I should call somebody. And Jimmy said, yes, you should. I said, Jimmy, hand me my cell phone. Jimmy said, your cell phone's at home. You're absolutely right, Jimmy. Now we get to walk 2 miles to the nearest exit to go use a payphone. For you young kids in the audience, a payphone is something that we used to use back in the day. That was at every gas station. Did I mention it was January and neither one of us had jackets on? It is cold. So the promoter, who will go unnamed, in his compassionate for our situation, sent a pickup truck for us. 2 people in the front, me and Jimmy in the bed of a pickup truck in January with short sleeves and no jackets. Freezing, but still laughing. And I'll never forget that laugh because it was the thing that held it together. I mean, it was a disastrous situation. I was out of car. Jimmy was out of a ride home. And my cell phone was safe at home, but how was I going to get there? But, we still laughed, and I will tell you that's something that I'll miss from Jimmy, is that smile and that laugh. But like I said, a lot of us, we could be here all night telling Jimmy stories, but right now, I'd like to bring out someone else who had a very close relationship with Jimmy. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce to you Mr. Bill Behrens.
Good evening. First of all, I'm honored to be in the presence of Jimmy's family, his son James, his daughter Kayla, and her boyfriend Kyle, and their mother Felicia. Recently, I've talked in this ring about people who mattered to me, like New Jack, like Bert Prentice. But this is way, way different. They say that a parent should not live longer than the child. And I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that I was Jimmy's father, but I am going to say that he was one of my kids. And I'm embarrassed to say that for quite a while I've been mad at Jimmy. And this whole week I've been mad at Jimmy. And then it was last night I realized I wasn't really mad at Jimmy. I was mad at myself. I was disappointed in myself. And I know there are others backstage and elsewhere who share that disappointment because none of us could save Jimmy. But that's enough of my pity party. Let's instead celebrate Jimmy. I found out about Jimmy Rave, I want to say it was 2000-ish, when I received a VHS tape, yeah, it was a long time ago, from David Young of a tag team match that Jimmy was in. I liked it. I told him to come to the company I was running at the time, NWA Wildside. From the day he showed up, it was obvious to the locker room that he was something special. Now, of course, the Jimmy Rave that showed up on that day was a skinny, long-haired kid. But that was what got him over. He was the second of what I've referred to as my long-hair cell monkeys. He had an amazing ability to engage an audience from the start, and it wasn't long before he became a junior heavyweight champion in Wildside and was having what were called matches of the year with people like AJ Styles. And he was so good that as a member and officer of the National Wrestling Alliance at the time, the decision was made at my suggestion that we should make Jimmy Rave the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, and he did become that not once but twice. And he traveled all over the United States defending that title, a title that is now being reintroduced in Billy Corgan's NWA. Jimmy made that belt relevant again after it had fallen into obscurity before. And that's simply the truth. And that got him around to other places. He began to going with some of our Wildside people to promotions like Combat Zone Wrestling. By the way, that led to Jimmy doing his first international trip to Italy, which did not go well because they didn't get paid And if it wasn't for Sabu, they might still be in the hotel there. But Sabu paid the hotel bill, got them to the airport, and they got home. And from then on, we referred to Jimmy as an international superstar. But that was just the beginning. Ring of Honor went into business in 2002, right around the same time TNA did, and Jimmy was in TNA immediately, and soon after he was in Ring of Honor. In TNA, he started as a singles performer, and then one day, Jeff Jarrett had an idea. He had seen his kids playing video games with fake guitars, and instantly he thought Jimmy Rave and Lance Hoyt should be rock and roll stars, and that created the rock and roll infection. That's right. Rock and rave infection. Correction. She's right. Yeah, I can't remember my own history sometimes. But they were successful and did a lot of traveling at that. Simultaneously, he was becoming a star in Ring of Honor. In Ring of Honor, he had a feud with AJ Styles with the Rave Clash versus the Styles Clash. He had a feud with CM Punk that led to a cage match. He was part of a faction, in fact, that's crown jewel of the embassy with Prince Nana and numerous other famous wrestlers. And Jimmy Rave was becoming the star we saw from the very beginning. But that didn't stop. TNA reached out to him a few years after that and wanted him to go to India for King Ra, whatever it was, Ring Ka King, where he and Sanjay Dutt basically ran the show and trained the Indian wrestlers. And that's one of the things that Jimmy Rave did great. He was a mentor to professional wrestlers. Here in the state of Georgia, he created a group that originated in Rampage Pro Wrestling that was referred to as Jimmy Rave Approved. And they consisted of people like Sal Renaro, Chip Day, Corey Hollis, Mike Posey, Jeremy Vane, Patrick Bentley, and at one time, Jimmy Rave came to Southern Fried Championship Wrestling. And so did Jimmy Rave Approved. And he introduced Bobby Moore and Adrian Hawkins. And that changed the direction of Southern Fried Championship Wrestling. Jimmy Rave was a mentor. Jimmy Rave helped make Georgia wrestling better. Jimmy Rave created much of what we're doing now, because today, love them or hate them, the Approved are a huge part of Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, and every time the Approved appear in some way, they honor Jimmy Rave. And even recently, he was mentoring up in Philadelphia. There's a young man named Jordan Oliver, who was one of his last charges, who is now traveling all over the United States because of the advice and guidance he got from Jimmy Rave. So, with me tonight, please mourn the passing of Jimmy Rave, but also with me, please celebrate Jimmy Rave. Because if you had an opportunity to watch him in a ring, you were in the presence of greatness. And tonight, we are in the presence of a great memory. If we could at this time, if everyone would rise, may we please honor James Michael Guffey with a 10-bell salute. And if you will, please remain standing. And for one last time, let's give Jimmy Rave a final standing ovation. And Adam, play his music. I love you, Jimmy. I miss you.